ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia and also the Minister responsible for the Ministry of Works and Transport to address us. Honourable Mutorwa is an esteemed teacher. He is a history teacher, and he is one of the most senior members of our cabinet, having joined our cabinet in the early 1990s and having served in the cabinet of the Republic of Namibia since then, over 30 years. Honourable Minister, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, we welcome you to address your delegates. Thank you.
Thank you. The director of our program, Mr. Honourable, Chief Executive Officer of the Aviation, your colleagues, the team members with whom you work, and also your board members, esteemed leaders representing the various airline companies and other business entities who are here, captains of industry, Dr. Liake Angala, the chairperson of the Namibian Airports Companies Board of Directors, and your colleagues, members of the board, Mr. Kwirap, the Chief Executive Officer of the Namibia Airports Company, and your colleagues, the management, staff members of your organization, Mr. Betwell Muyetenga, the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Namibian Civil Aviation Authority, Chief Executive Officer of that authority, and staff members, distinguished delegates and participants in this very important conference from outside the borders of Namibia, but also those that came from within Namibia. Madam Wanja, my colleague, Chief Executive Officer or Director of the NIPDB, person who's responsible for promoting investment in the economy of Namibia, and your colleagues also from your institution that you are representing here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start off by appreciating the invitation that was extended by the Chief Executive Officer of the Namibia Airports Company to the government of the Republic of Namibia through the Line Ministry responsible for transport to attend and participate in the deliberations of this important Congress. We associate ourselves fully and indeed support the eye-catching theme of the conference, namely, igniting connections, propelling growth. Furthermore, We welcome all the distinguished and eminent personalities from different countries, as well as those who are attending this conference from within the Republic of Namibia. We welcome you to our country, Namibia. We welcome you to our city, capital city of Windhoek. Thank you for having chosen our country and our national capital city, Windhoek, to host this very important aviation conference. We have taken note that, and I'm quoting from the brochure that was given to me accompanying the invitation. So we have taken note that, quote now, that Avia Dev Real Estate is the only event connecting African airports with real estate investors and developers to grow non-aeronautical revenues and build resilience. The quote still goes on to say, Avia Dev Real Estate will connect African airports to those with finance, to those with skills, to develop the land, to maximize the revenue potential and increase your appeal to new careers. End of quote. I've been requested in the invitation letter to focus more in my statement on, quote, Namibia's objectives with regard to air connectivity. I shall attempt to do that, and I hope I will not disappoint. The Namibian government's policy and policy intentions and policy expectation are and remain the following, in a nutshell. And that is to expand or grow the numerous sectors of our national economy. For example, the sector of agriculture, the sector of trade, the sector of tourism, infrastructures, health, education, information technology, and many others. To promote and develop those sectors in a balanced and planned, sustainable manner. That is the overall objective. Now, as we have seen in the video here, ours is a very big country, and we like it that way, geographically speaking, with a small population relative to the size of the country. We like it because it gives you that freedom. When you travel, you take your time, don't speed, visit different parts of this country. We have 14 regions. Some countries call them provinces. We have 14 regions. When you go to the coast, definitely you will see as if you're in a different country. When you go east, it's different. When you go north, different. South, different. So it is a country that can lure people to remain, even to become citizens of this country. For the travelers and the tourists, Namibia is surely the country to visit. It follows logically, therefore, that among the various sectors, as I have just enumerated them, the aviation or air transport sector is critically important for socio-economic growth or even for tourism. Just to take an example, we are in Windhoek now. If one wants to go to the region that is in the far northeastern part of Namibia, called Zambezi region, you are talking about 1,000, I don't know how many kilometers. Of course, if you want to take a leisurely travel, you can go by road, but preferably by air. The same down south. You want to go to Oraniemund, those areas, the distances are long, and therefore air transport becomes relevant and important. Mr. Compion is there, he will agree with what I'm saying. The expansion of the aviation sector necessitates and requires new collaboration, coordination, and cooperation that not only must allow for a faster recovery from the devastating and destructive effects of COVID-19, but that must also give a voice for and to the economic development based on creating chances and opportunities for investment, for employment, and for skills development. Simply stated, and in the case of Namibia, our focus must be to achieve a seamless integration of our airport infrastructures as a basis for economic activities. As such, the Line Ministry of Works and Transport must continue to render meaningful assistance in a well-coordinated and planned manner to the Namibia Airports Company, to the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority, in accomplishing that very important national responsibilities that are entrusted to those two entities that I've just mentioned. As a sector, the aviation industry must, on a continuous basis, endeavor to form genuine partnerships. And I see the genuine partnership here. Different airlines from different countries, not only at that level, but also at the personal level. When people come together, you have the partnerships in terms of friendships at a personal level. And that is what is very, very important. Because that also enhances understanding of one another's context, challenges, potential, and prospects. At the continental level, that is now at the level of the Africa, it is our position that the African states must continue to honor our collective commitment to prioritize aviation development on this very beautiful, resource-rich continent, Africa, through collaborative efforts to establish a single African air transport market, the TM. With the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, that market will serve as a critical enabling instrument to accelerate the much desired and much needed intra-African trade and economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, air travel is critical to our individual successes as countries now in Africa. But very importantly, it is also very, very critical to realize our collective successes on the continent of Africa. And we have just to endeavor. That single market is very, very important. Even the issue of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Yes, that agreement was signed already by various African states. But that agreement, in order to have concrete, meaningful objectives to be achieved, transport plays a role. Whether it is now road transportation, air transportation, your rail transportation, and to a larger extent, to a lesser extent, maybe the maritime transportation. If you don't have those transport infrastructures, how do you trade freely? Because goods and services and people use transport to move around. So it is very important then that the air must also have its role there. It is important because somebody, I think it was Mr. Howell or somebody else, or BC Kwirap, we have very noble objectives continentally. The 2063 agenda, it does articulate various very noble objectives that we want to practically realize by 2063, the Africa that we want. And for that to be meaningful, there is work for us to do in the transport sector as well. As I conclude, last week I traveled to Geneva by air, Windhoek, Addis Ababa, Geneva. Now I was reading, I think the leadership of Airlink, maybe they are here too. Incidentally, I had your magazine, that Airlink Skyways. I was reading that pamphlet or magazine. Now, my attention was drawn to page 78 of that. On page 78 there, that is now the February edition of Skyways. There was an article, very interesting one, entitled, "Making It Easier en Route." Now, there was one paragraph which I want to quote, which I think is also relevant to the agenda that we are discussing today. And this quotation reads as follows. That's now looking at the future. And the future is not very far. The future can be tomorrow. Quote, "There is no question that technology will play an important role in the future, where airport operating models will be impacted by advances in biometrics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, 3D printing, and automation. Improving the airport experience for passengers boils down to three things. It's not me saying it, but I like that. It boils down to three things: easy navigation, cleanliness, and customer service. End of quote. Now, having said all these things now, I want to do now the last, why I was invited, simply now to declare that the 8th edition of the Avia Dev Africa Conference is now declared officially opened. And I wish you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to have a very focused, and he said it already, focused, engaging, constructive exchanges and debates and discussions, and eventually then a successful conference. But after the conference, just to strengthen what the CEO of Namibia Airports Company, if it is not possible to stay longer now, come back. Come back as a tourist, as a traveler. We are a friendly country. Thank you.